What's going on, everybody? Hey, it's Redneck Biker. So I haven't vlogged in a while. Just really kind of haven't been into it. You know how it gets. Been doing a lot of other stuff. You know, working 2 full-time jobs kind of kills your appetite and ability to get out and ride all the time. But the last time I was out riding, I was in a motorcycle crash. Single vehicle. Purely my fault. I was out supporting a gravel bicycle race and about 80 miles into it. I went across a low water bridge, and you know, typically in a low water bridge or something of that nature, you're going to walk it prior to going across it, simply just for safety's sake and to make sure there's, I don't know, no weird shit on the bridge or any holes and you can't see it because of the water, something like that. Oh, I'm in Prairie Grove Battlefield Park is where I'm at. So and I was coming down a hill onto the bridge. There were some bystanders there who were taking pictures and video of the bicycle racers. There had only been one. I was maybe about, I don't know, 1/10 of a mile, 2/10 of a mile behind the lead motorcyclist, the lead bicyclist, and I was making sure that the rest made the turn properly. That's why I had to draw back. Typically I would be out in front. As I was coming down the hill and then crossing the low water bridge, which was probably say 35 feet long, the water depth, I didn't know what it was at the time prior to crossing. I would say it was 6 to 7 inches, just visually kind of estimating it. And so I made it about, I would say 15 feet across the bridge, so just a little, almost halfway across. Didn't quite make it across when I lost traction at the rear tire. Of course, you know, you try to save it. I did not do a very good job of saving it, simply because then I washed out at the front end. I do have a picture of it, and I'll try to include somehow, maybe here, and if you look at it, you can see that my legs are splayed kind of wide open, like, you know, like you would too. My brake light is on, and so that's an indicator to me that the front brake was being applied, which makes sense. You can see the wheel is slightly turned inward or to my left, and so I lost traction at the front as well. That's probably just panic braking. So down I went. Thankfully, the crash bars, this SW Motec crash bars, which I can't say enough about. If you don't have crash bars on your bike, you're missing out. At any rate, the crash bars grabbed the concrete of the low water bridge and kept the bike on the bridge, which is a good thing. I did not stay on the bridge. I went off the bridge into the water. The drop was, I would say, maybe 2.5 feet. I ended up about chest deep in water in a seated position. And motorcycle stayed running. You know, everything kind of worked out well as far as that goes. So what I did, you know, turned the motorcycle off. One of the bystanders helped me pick my bike up. He's also the one who got the picture. He actually got a live photo of it, but for whatever reason I can't see it. It's just a couple seconds. You know, however long those things last, I don't know. Anyway, it's very Harry Potter-ish. Anyway, so I was soaking wet. And I had to finish the bicycle race, which was probably, like I said, another 30 miles. And it was probably about 40 degrees that day, 45 degrees. So froze my balls off. And then I think, like at any, when you crash, you kind of, don't really assess things well initially. So once back on the bike, the only damage that I could see at that point was the clutch lever was bent. I have the Warp 9 clutch levers. It's still bent. I was able to open it a little bit back up to close to where it should be. I didn't want to do too much because I was worried about, just snapping it off. I mean, it's aluminum, which made me realize too, like, I've got bark busters, and I guess the bark buster did not do a very good job of protecting the lever. But at any rate, that's neither here nor there. Then the shift lever was also bent slightly. I have the original stock shift lever, and that was pretty much it that I could tell just right off the bat. And then as I was down the road a little bit further, this fairing here was cracked. This has been replaced already, which I'll leave a link to where I bought all my replacement parts. It's Bennett's online, or hell, I can't remember who it is. But ordered parts from there. Got them a couple days later, and all in all, it was about $200 worth of replacement parts, which is not bad for a crash, right? So, then when I got back to the race finish line, I kind of realized how badly I was hurting. Mostly it was my back and my left elbow. I'm accident prone anyway, so I kind of waited and assessed, and I finally went to the doctor about a month and a half later, which was last Tuesday. Turns out my elbow was dislocated, so there's that. So I guess I had a dislocated elbow for about a month and a half. The doctor popped it back in the office. I don't do pain medication if I can all help it. So that was an experience. And then just some very minor lower back pain, which I'm working out through physical therapy along with the elbow. So my point in all this is that, and I don't know what most do. I was kind of explaining to, we had another moto out there that day as well. He crashed in exactly the same spot I did. So I guess it was just meant to be for us crashing that day. There was a third moto. He said he went very, very slowly across that bridge and did not crash. So, low water bridges, I suspect, just from not having been able to go back out there yet, it's maybe I'll get to that later this week. I'm sure it was just slimy from, just the water going across the concrete all the time. And so it's slippery. If I had walked it prior to, I would have picked my route. I would have made sure it wasn't slimy or avoided the slimy spots. And I was on the upwater side of the bridge, meaning the water was flowing from right to left, and I was on the far right side of the bridge, and that's where I lost traction. So I guess that's where the slime was just able to build up. But what I did after the crash, is think of it as, you would an aircraft that's been in battle or a vehicle or whatever. I just basically went home, tore the motorcycle down, and did a battle damage assessment. I went through the bike. I mean, I literally, took it down to the frame without removing the engine. or the motor, or whatever you want to call it, and just went from tip to tail and just kind of made a little note of what was in need of replacement or damage because of the crash or damage because I didn't already know it. There are some bolts that go through your rear rack that go all the way to the frame, and those are just little nuts that are attached to that rear frame rail. Those things were stripped out, so the rear rack had pulled away from those things, and I had previous problems with that particular portion of the bike anyway, so I wasn't going to buy a tap just to redo them. So what I did was I just knocked those son of a bitches out with a screwdriver. And you know, throughout the bike there are different clips that we have that bolt, that slide onto whatever, like a piece of fairing or whatever. Those are all the 6mm bolt size. So I just ordered a couple extra clips, and those slip onto that frame part perfectly. Just pinch them a little bit, and then you basically got new bolts. I did not take any pictures of it. I thought about it, but I just didn't do it. So that kind of worked out. And then of course finding out where all the squeaks and, you know, everything else that, you know, kind of working through getting, you know, just like simple things like getting mirrors readjusted. And this is really the first time back on the bike since then. But yeah, I mean, so I just, you know, I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what everybody else does when they crash, if they do the same thing, if they strip the bike down and kind of go through the whole, you know, I'm going to assess everything that could be wrong. Of course, I, you know, did a little painting on the crash bars. You know, I contemplated leaving the battle scars there, but that it would just rust because I scraped it down to the, you know, bare metal. But yeah, I mean, so I feel pretty good. My back's still kind of bothering me a little bit. My elbow's still sore as fuck, but is what it is. But, you know, back on the bike, of course. I hope everyone's doing well. You know, had a couple, you know, because of where I work, I get exposed to COVID all the time. Thankfully, I had it very early on. I'm ready for the vaccine to come out. I think I will be in one of the first groups to get it. I will get it. You know, so there's that. And then so yeah, you know, I'll try to blog with a little more regularity, maybe. Just so busy doing real estate stuff. I'm selling real estate now as well as my full-time job, and I'm having a blast making a bit of money. And if y'all don't follow Scratch Babble, follow him. He's an inspector, so he's not that we work together, but two peas in a pod, I guess. So like I said, I hope everyone's doing well. Thanks for bearing with me on this vlog. I know it was long and not very scenic, but maybe next time. So y'all ride safe.